Hear ye, hear ye, the tech news is nigh. Open thine ears, peasant, that I may wiggle my tech news pinky in them. It's all over. Humanity is doomed because the alpha AI developed by DeepMind has beaten human professional StarCraft 2 players for the first time, our most cherished and complex game. I mean, that's only partly sarcasm. StarCraft is much, much more complicated than both chess and Go, which have already been mastered by DeepMind's AI. This one, called AlphaStar, prepared for its matches by playing versions of itself over and over again at an accelerated rate, playing 200 years worth of games in about a week. Take that, Korea. AlphaStar was put up against the StarCraft pros known as TLO and Mana, beating them both 5-0. However, while DeepMind did set human-like limits on AlphaStar's ability in order to make it a fairer matchup, the AI was able to essentially see the entire game map out. Come on! Though it couldn't see through the fog of war. And DeepMind's analysis did show that AlphaStar focused attention on specific areas at specific times.
Mana has defeated AlphaStar.
Once this advantage was removed, however, Mana was able to defeat AlphaStar in one last game. So the headlines probably should read, AI defeats StarCraft 2 pros with screen peeking. Send one over, DeepMind, I'm gonna take it on myself. No, I'm not. Now, we all love to bash Facebook, but they also own Instagram and WhatsApp, another two of the most popular social networks, and soon, they won't be that different. Mark Zuckerberg has announced plans to integrate the messaging services of Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger in order to consolidate Facebook services and keep users engaged with the what the hell are they doing? This is literally straight out of the how to acquire something, totally destroy it, and make nobody care about it anymore playbook.
It's called a monopoly.
Under the new system, all three messaging services will effectively be the same system, incorporating end-to-end encryption, which WhatsApp has already, and allowing users on any one of those platforms to send a message to either of the others. I mean, that's why people are on Instagram, so they don't get messages from mom on Facebook.
You're upset.
The move represents a sharp redirection as Facebook has previously allowed Instagram and WhatsApp to operate largely autonomously. It also arrives alongside an op-ed from Zuckerberg published in the Wall Street Journal defending Facebook's business practices and expressing openness to federal regulation in response to its many scandals during the year of 2018, which wasn't that long ago. So whether you feel the need to hashtag delete Facebook or not, they're not deleting themselves anytime soon. They're just making it so we won't care about them. Good job. And Google has petitioned the US Supreme Court to overturn a ruling that would have potentially disastrous consequences for the software industry. You see, in 2010, Oracle, the company that owns the rights to the Java programming language, sued Google for implementing Java APIs in some of its software, like the Android operating system. In 2014, the case reached the Federal Circuit Appeals Court, which ruled that Google had breached Oracle's copyright. But copyright laws had never been used to restrict the use of APIs before, and Google believed that they shouldn't, so they appealed it. There was a second ruling last year which upheld the original ruling, and now, in a massive shocker, Google is appealing that ruling because they still don't agree. The reason this is such a big deal is that new software is often based off of existing APIs, and if every developer was forced to pay licensing all the way back up the chain, it could drastically alter the landscape of software development. You know what? Come on, Oracle. Mr. Ellison, don't you have anything better to do? I mean, you guys basically have a monopoly on database software. Just enjoy your billions upon billions of dollars. Now it's time for Blip Lips, brought to you by Vincero Watches. Vincero makes luxury timepieces that are designed to help you stand out and up your fashion game at an accessible price. Because they sell directly to you, the consumer, and cut out the middleman, take that, middleman, you'll get the look and feel of a watch that might cost 10 times the price elsewhere. Those middlemen are really getting fat, aren't they? With free worldwide shipping and over 13,000 five-star customer reviews, you'll be sure to be a winner with Vincero. So check out their site and use offer code Techlinked to to get 15% off your entire order over at watches.com/techlinked. Oh, vincerowatches.com. I was like, wow, they got watches.com? Yeah, vincerowatches.com, whatever, the link's below. Now on to the blip loops. Earlier this week, Meizu announced the Zero, a smartphone for people with a lot of gray matter. No, is that the name? Zero buttons. It's a smartphone with no buttons or ports. And then, get this, Vivo has now announced their own super smooth phone, the Apex 2019, which also has no buttons or ports. I mean, we knew this was coming, but we were like kind of joking. You know, like remember when phones kept getting smaller and smaller and people would make these funny videos where they're just like holding a phone that's the size of a Tic Tac, like, yeah, oh, hello, yes, yeah, I love it.
I wanted one of those.
You know, like that kind of thing? Yeah. Well, we joked about it. Soon, the phone with no ports and no they're here. They're not just one, two of them. So the only seam is a microphone hole in the bottom, and it relies completely on wireless charging. Now, Chinese phone makers have actually been responsible for a lot of innovation in phones recently, including, I wish I had that Nex that has the two screens, one on the back, but I was not asking for this kind of change. Not like this. Valve will be making an appearance at the Game Developers Conference in March to present a talk entitled Brain-Computer Interfaces, One Possible Future for How We Play. How we play Half-Life?
What?
For how we play Half-Life 3?
What?
Is that what you meant, Valve? Whether it's meant to control Gordon Freeman or not, the idea of playing video games with your mind is certainly intriguing, especially if there's a gravity gun involved. Smartwatches are pretty blah these days, but Google might be looking to kickstart the industry again. Codenames for what are allegedly pixel-branded watches called Salmon and Medaka
Delicious.
have leaked, with the rumor mill indicating we might see these devices this fall. Internet access for the island nation of Tonga was completely wiped out this past weekend when an undersea fiber cable was damaged by Cthulhu, a ship's anchor. A satellite dish was hastily set up in the capital, and residents could line up to use it for 20 minutes at a time. Is the entire world a South Park episode now? Is this where we're at? I mean, can you imagine spending a good 30 seconds composing an unimaginably tasty tweet, only to have your entire country's internet cut off, and then someone else kicks you off the computer and they need the spot, but you haven't pressed send yet?
I don't want to think about it.
And take this last item with a hefty dose of salt, but a Reddit post with what are supposedly specs for the next-gen series of Xbox consoles was posted, yes, my friends, on Reddit earlier this week before being removed. Screenshots were captured before that happened though, thanks Reddit, showing a spec list that included 12 teraflop Radeon Navi GPUs and ray tracing support. That does seem a little far-fetched, but come 2020 and Microsoft's announcement of the RTXBOX, you guys will say, hey, those Techlinked guys, they're pretty in the know.
Really smart.
They got it.
Yeah, great guys.
And you know what else I've got? Some bad news, because that's it for the tech news today. Unless you haven't watched The WAN Show, in which case you could go do that now. It's not really tech news anymore. People were worried that Techlinked was gonna kind of kill The WAN Show. The WAN Show's just like an hour of bullshit now.
We just changed it.
It's not dead, it's just stupid.
Took the tech news.
Yes. Subscribe!
Oh!
Ah! Sorry, I got their attention.